Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're zooming in on Pan American Silver. You, our listener, sent in your research on this company, and we're here to pull out the crucial insights so you can really understand what's happening.
That's right. We've got the financials, news, analyst takes, basically everything we need. We're going to unpack their recent performance, where they stand financially, and, what might be next for them.
Our goal is to cut through the noise, give you the key info without making your head spin. Okay, let's get into it. So Pan American Silver, a major player in precious metals mining. Silver is, well, their main focus, but they're also pulling significant gold and base metals out of the ground.
And their operations are spread out primarily across the Americas. Key sites right now are in Mexico and Brazil.
And Peru used to be key, too, with La Arena, but they sold that off, didn't they?
They did. That sale completed back in December 2024. So that changes their geographical footprint a bit.
Right. And their business covers everything, from looking for the stuff exploration right through to mining, processing, and selling the silver, gold, and the byproducts like zinc, lead, copper.
They've clearly stated their ambition to be the world's top silver producer. They're leaning on discovery, innovation and engineering, and, importantly these days, sustainable development.
And those flagship operations now are La Colorada in Mexico and Jacobina down in Brazil.
Okay, let's talk stock performance. Looking at the data up to April 24th, 2025, the stock closed at $26.01. That was up about 1.3% on the day.
A small gain. But looking back over the month before that, it actually dipped slightly, just under 0.3%.
But here's the interesting part: context matters. In that same period, the wider basic materials sector lost nearly 4%, and the S&P 500 dropped over 5%.
So Pan American actually held up much better, outperformed the market and its sector.
It did, which
Yeah.
might suggest, maybe some investor confidence specific to them, or perhaps positive sentiment around silver itself, or maybe the market liked that La Arena sale strategically.
Could be a mix of things. That relative strength is definitely noticeable.
And something else likely influencing the stock right now is the anticipation for their next earnings release. Q1 2025 results are due out after market close on May 7th.
Which is also the same day as their annual general meeting. So May 7th is a big date.
Definitely one to watch. That announcement will give the first real look post-La Arena sale.
And speaking of that sale, it's a key event. Selling the La Arena mine. It obviously changes their asset mix, but also, importantly, boosted their cash balance quite a bit.
Let's shift to that financial health then. Based on what we know from 2024, they hit their production guidance for the year.
Which was pretty substantial, right?
Yeah, about 21.1 million ounces of silver and nearly 900,000 ounces of gold. 892,000 to be exact. Zinc, lead, copper production also met their targets.
That's solid operational performance.
Absolutely, and it shows up on the balance sheet. They entered 2025 with a record cash position, $887.3 million.
Wow, record cash. And that's thanks to running the mines well and the proceeds from selling La Arena.
Exactly, a combination of both. Now, the sources we looked at don't break down the specific revenue or earnings per share for all of 2024. You'd need their audited reports for that level of detail.
But strong production usually means good top-line numbers, assuming metal prices cooperated.
Generally, yes. And while we don't have the exact debt figures here, having almost $900 million in cash strongly suggests healthy liquidity. No immediate solvency concerns, you'd think.
And that translated to cash flow, too.
It did. Record free cash flow in 2024, $445.1 million generated.
Okay, so they're producing, well, they have cash. What about their competitive edge? How do they stack up?
A big focus for them, like most miners, is cost control. Managing expenses efficiently is critical in this industry. That's a key part of their strategy.
Makes sense. Keeping costs low helps buffer against volatile metal prices.
Right. And their sheer capacity in both silver and gold production is another advantage. They're a significant force in the silver market, known for, running things efficiently and making smart strategic plays.
And who are they up against?
Well, you've got Fresnillo, often cited as the world's largest primary silver producer. There's First Majestic Silver, very focused on Mexico. And then companies like Wheaton Precious Metals, which have a different business model, streaming and royalties.
Ah, the streaming model, paying upfront for future production.
Exactly. So Pan American kind of differentiates itself with that large silver output, the diversification into gold and base metals, and now this very strong cash position, which gives them options, for acquisitions, development, or just weathering market storms.
Strategic flexibility is always good. Looking forward then, that May 7th earnings report for Q1 2025 is the next big thing.
It really is. It's the first glimpse into revenue and profitability trends after selling La Arena. Everyone will be scrutinizing those numbers.
What are analysts expecting?
The consensus seems pretty positive, actually. They're forecasting an EPS around $0.23 for the quarter. That would be a big jump compared to the same quarter last year.
Interesting. And production forecast for this year?
For silver, the guidance is between 20 and 21 million ounces for 2025. So broadly in line with 2024 levels, even without La Arena contributing for the full year prior.
Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing. What are the risks we need to consider?
Standard mining risk supply, of course. Commodity price swings are always a factor. Silver and gold prices can be volatile. Regulatory changes are another one, especially environmental rules in Latin America where their main operations are.
Political stability and policy shifts are definitely key in that region.
And then there's the wider economy. Macroeconomic conditions impact demand for metals, both industrial and investment demand.
But on the flip side, potential opportunities.
Definitely. Growing industrial uses for silver, think electronics, solar panels that could boost demand, and silver always has that safe haven or inflation hedge appeal for investors sometimes.
So let's try and summarize the strengths and maybe potential red flags. Strengths seem clear.
Yeah, consistent production performance, hitting their targets, record output at specific mines like Jacobina, improved silver output at La Colorada, signs things are running well operationally.
And that balance sheet, the huge cash reserve, is a major strength.
Undeniably. Potential red flags or maybe just things to watch.
Well, the La Arena sale, while boosting cash, does mean slightly less diversification in their asset base.
True. Fewer operating mines now.
And again, that upcoming Q1 report is critical. We need to see how the profitability looks, are costs creeping up, what's the margin picture post-divestment.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for you, the listener, thinking about this company? Pan American Silver seems operationally strong, financially healthy.
With a particularly strong cash position right now, but that May 7th earnings report really is key to understanding their path forward after the La Arena sale.
The market seems cautiously optimistic, judging by the analysts' EPS forecasts and the stock holding up relatively well recently. But remember the inherent risks. Metal price volatility, the regulatory environment they operate in, standard for miners, but always worth remembering.
Keep a very close eye on that Q1 report. It should offer a lot more clarity on profit trends and their strategy.
Which brings us to the final point for you to consider. How does this company, with its specific strengths like operational execution and cash, and its risks like commodity dependence and regional factors fit into your investment approach and your tolerance for risk within the precious metals space?
Definitely worth thinking about. We absolutely encourage you to look at their official reports and the news coming out around May 7th.
Do your own homework, essentially.
Thanks for joining us for this exploration of Pan American Silver. Please do subscribe, like this, and drop a comment letting us know what other companies or topics you'd like us to unpack next time on Investing Talk Podcast.